Hello, my name is Max with today's Hobie.
Hello.
And we're reviewing the Game of Thrones episode, Second Sons. Last week's episode we sort of gave a bad review. What do you think of this week's episode?
I think, compared to last, and in general as well, very good episode. I was very pleased with it. And it is nice when you had a sort of slow week last week. Stuff happened in this one. Good stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's getting back into it. I was like, good. More of this, please.
Okay. I did think it was an improvement on the last week's episode. As you said, stuff happened. You got introduced to a few more characters. Well, we'll start at the beginning, Arya, with the Hound. What do you think of that scene?
I thought it was very good, because...
I get
this,
you.
I was like, that's dark. Like, I'll wait until he's asleep and then try and bludgeon him. Yeah. But equally, it was a good scene because the Hound doesn't sleep. You know, he just stays awake. Remember, and I liked his speech saying, she's like, who's worse than you? And he's like, well, you've not met my brother. I saved your sister from a mob.
Yeah.
My brother once killed a man for snoring, sort of thing. And it is like, well, yeah, what has the Hound done, really?
He's killed a load of people.
Yeah, he's killed a load of people, but
who
hasn't?
Yeah. What I'd like to see more from the Mountain. And I know there was a sort of casting issue. I'd like to see the stuff that the Mountain gets up to more, because some of the stuff in the books he does is just like rank, like it stays with you. With the stuff he does. Maybe that's why they don't show it on TV. We move on to the Khaleesi and her storyline for this episode. She meets the army of the Second Sons, led by the Titan's bastard. You get to meet his lieutenant Daario Naharis for the first time. What do you think of him?
He's not what I expected, but no, he seemed alright. I'm curious as to his character's motivation and everything like that.
What I thought, and a lot of people that read the books might agree, that I would like just a little bit of blue in his hair, because in the books he had like a beard down to his chest, blue beard with blue hair and a gold tooth, and I always thought
really?
Yeah, so I always thought that was a bit extreme, so that's probably why they took it out from the TV series. But I'd have just liked a little bit of blue in his hair.
Oh, as a sort of nod.
Yeah, just a little nod. So, oh yeah, remember him. But I thought he was okay. He got the sort of arrogant, sort of sort of sexy vibe.
He'll be young
going.
forever.
Yeah, sort of carefree, but he does look dangerous as well.
Yeah,
which is key for that character. But I was a bit disappointed with because in the books, obviously, Daario betrays those two captains. I wanted to have seen that scene. I wanted to see him sort of cut the heads
rather
off
than just
two.
now he's there.
Yeah, but other than that, it was a good scene.
I would say as well, in terms of the genre, rather than like the story or whatever, I'm liking that the Khaleesi's getting even more, because she's got some Dothraki, which I see as a sort of honour guard. Then she's got the Unsullied, and now she's got like 2,000 more cavalry. Yeah. That's supposed to be really good sellswords. And I'm like, she's getting stuff done.
She's got 3 dragons as well.
Yeah, she is getting stuff done. She's sort of building up to be an unstoppable force, and I like that.
Yeah. What I did like was when Daario was with her and she was in the tub. I thought that scene was quite full of tension, sort of hints of what could happen next. We'll move on to Melisandre. She's brought Gendry to Dragonstone. Well, I found that scene interesting because, there's a few scenes back, Theon was getting seduced by those 2 girls.
Yeah.
And then Gendry's now getting seduced by Melisandre in this scene. Why did Gendry trust her? I know, your penis takes over and you just sort of go, you know what, I don't care what happens.
I should escape later.
Yeah, but
I shouldn't trust you, but later.
And it's rich coming from me that, I don't know what I'd do in that situation. But why is he just sort of going, alright, let's do this?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It does seem... He was very cautious and he didn't like the fact that he was sold to her.
Yeah.
But, no, that's fine, that's cool. Whatever.
Although, yeah...
Well, now hopefully he's learnt his lesson. Because that wasn't very nice, was it? Which, by the way, I thought was a good scene because I forgot that Stannis has it against Robb Stark as well. When he was like, the usurper Robb Stark. I was like, what? Sorry? Oh, yeah. I forgot that you guys weren't allies.
You're a Stark, man. Well, that was a key scene. And I thought it was interestingly done.
Yes.
Davos is in that scene as well. He's been busted out.
Yeah.
Well, he's been released.
He's been released.
What did you think of that?
Well, again, Davos, I know I say this about a lot of characters, but I really like Davos as a character as well. And I like his role. He is there as counsel. He's there as sort of the heart.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, this boy has done you no wrong. He's sort of pleading. He's right at the end of the day, morally anyway.
Yeah, he is,
and he's like, and this is why you've released me, because you want me to say this. And I was like,
but
that's true.
But let's say, I don't know, but let's say this magic that they're doing, the last time they did that magic, Renly, you know, their main rival, was killed. So maybe in the long run, Gendry, one little man, is worth doing that. To be, you know, that's what Melisandre said, which is true.
Yeah. The needs and the money and all of that.
Tywin would do that.
Yeah.
Move on to something that took up most of the episode, Tyrion and Sansa's wedding.
Yep.
We'll start with Cersei and her conversation with Marjorie. What do you think of that?
Personally, well, and email in if I'm wrong or whatever, or comment, because I thought, you know how like with the powerful people like Varys and Littlefinger, they've got their like powerful speech. They're like, do not mess with me because I'm crazy, or do not mess with me because I'm revengeful. To me, I thought that was Cersei's
attempt of a power speech.
I thought that was a do not mess with me because I want this kingdom more than you, or something, you know. And I thought it was their attempt. If you compare it to Varys and Littlefinger's, then it's worthless. But as, on its own, as a standalone, it is still a reminder of this is why you don't want the Lannisters to succeed.
What I think sums her up is what her threat was. Do you know what my daddy did? That, and you know, Locke, when he cut off Jaime's hand, said, you know, you always go back to your dad, and that's what those two do.
Yeah.
And it sort of takes away from her power when she's saying, do you know what my dad did? You know, he had all this power and did all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not saying, do you know what I did?
Yeah, exactly. That's what Littlefinger and Varys do. You know, they talk about themselves and they talk about how their plans affect stuff. But she's always saying, my dad's real powerful and he's scheming. And I know he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, once he's gone, she's going to be useless.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
Reading the book, the wedding scene between Tyrion and Sansa, you had one thing, it was tension. Especially when Joffrey's there. Whenever Joffrey turns up, you go, you know, what's going to happen now?
Yeah. Oh no, what's he going to do? Joffrey.
And he kept coming up at this point and sort of, you know, threatening Sansa, threatening Tyrion, taking his little box away, which really annoyed me.
Yeah, I was like, what a dick move.
Yeah. What that scene did was it just ranked up the tension for me, and it definitely worked. It's one of those scenes where it was as good as the book. What I liked was, especially in that scene, was when they were laughing at Tyrion. I think Joffrey made a joke, and Tywin's head turned and just immediately shut them up.
Bang.
We'll move on to after the wedding process ceremony. Tyrion was wicked drunk.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's Tyrion, you know. I thought it was, that's probably what Tyrion would do. I liked some of the speeches between some of the other people. So, for example, when Tywin comes over and says, you need to get a Lannister child in her.
Yeah.
Stop dicking around.
Drinking,
he was being the stern father. When Cersei told Joffrey, or perhaps you should speak to your wife, Marjorie, and he was like, no, I've got all my life for that. And it goes off anyway. Or when the Queen of Thorns, when she just starts going, so he'll be your stepdad, but you'll be his uncle, and her nephew will be your brother. I was like, good that you realise how screwed up this family is. Welcome to the family, you know. Look what you've married into.
What I liked is the scene when Loras goes up to Cersei.
And goes, so my no one cares. No one cares.
And then at that point I felt, I feel for him. Like he's going to have to get married to her and spend the rest of that.
He obviously doesn't like women, and you're giving him the worst of the bunch.
Well, is she?
Yeah.
Your face. I wish you had seen it, listeners. It was you had one eyebrow raised. We'll move on to the bedding process.
Yeah.
What was you thinking of that? Because I've read the books, I knew what was going to happen. Did you think they were going to go through with it?
What I thought was, because when she took the wine, she drank the wine, and there was the reference about I only drink when I need to, or something like that, and I was like, shit. Something, if they've mentioned that and they've brought it back and she's drinking the wine, so something's going to happen. Then she started undressing and Tyrion was
before
watching.
that, he asked, how old are you? And she said 14. And at that point you just go, I knew Tyrion just went, "Oh, I can't do this."
Yeah. But Daenerys did, drinking. And so I honestly thought she was going to derobe or whatever, and he was going to climb onto the bed. And you know how you said the tension was in the wedding?
Yeah.
I thought the tension would be in the bedding, as it were. And, because genuinely, I was like, oh god, it's just going to be so awkward to see him climb up onto the bed. Or I was like, if you want tension,
and then climb onto her.
Yeah, but I thought it was going to happen, but then Pod or Bronn would come in and be like, I need to interrupt for
emergency.
some reason. Yeah, and it would either be a thanks or what's happened. Jesus Christ, this has just happened.
But it'd be interesting. I don't think Sansa will ever have
relations.
In Game of Thrones, because she's too young. We've grown up with her young, if that makes sense.
She's still a child.
Yeah. I did think that scene lived up to the book as well. I thought Tyrion or Peter Dinklage was well acted throughout that, and Sophie Turner was brilliant as Sansa. Yeah, those two are just standout performances from that episode. We'll move on to Sam. Very important scene. He is with Gilly and he's trying to escape to the Castle Black, but out of nowhere, the White Walker from Series 2 that spared his life came back.
I don't think it was that White Walker.
Yeah, you don't think it is, but I swear it is.
I mean, you're gonna viewers
comment. See if you think it is, just comment.
I thought it was just a random White Walker.
Well, I thought it would be a random White Walker, but it looks so much like the one from Series 2. Then it must be it. But as you said, I thought it should have been a random one. It doesn't make sense for
the big
White Walker, the king or whatever it is. Yeah, it looked exactly like it. Well, comment, see what you thought. What do you think of that scene?
Good scene. It's obviously a sort of turning point in Sam's life, I reckon. Anyway, because from the whole "I'll never get better, I'm useless."
He said he was a coward.
Useless, yeah. But he stood up. He drew his sword. Yeah, he was shit and got knocked away straight away. But
yeah, I think it shows that he does truly sort of love Gilly. Yeah, because he risked his life trying to save her. What I have to say is, from the books, I'll go back to all the way at the beginning of this series when he was running from the White Walker.
He gets saved by Ghost.
Yeah, and Mormont saves him. That should have been better for me, because in the books, when you first read that chapter, it's nerve-wracking. It is unbelievable. You're biting your fingernails thinking, what's going to happen? Is Sam going to die? What's going to happen? Because he's running away from all these White Walkers, and then he just sort of gives up. And he sits down and says, I can't do it anymore, just let me die. That was much better than
what
this,
they did, right.
And I thought they were going to have another scene on later on, but they haven't. So I'm talking about it now. So I'm a bit disappointed with the tension. It could have been a lot better and a lot more drawn out. But as we've said in the past, they have to cram in so much. It's just too much for them,
Everyone deserves their own show, as it were.
I still thought it was a good scene, and it sort of gives Sam an extra edge. And I hope they do get to Castle Black. Although the crow thing's interesting. Yeah.
I think, like you said, it gives Sam another dimension, as you were saying. Even when he was talking to
Gilly.
Yeah, even when he was talking to Gilly, and they were talking about their fathers, and it was like common ground and everything. Yeah. But for me, I think mainly that scene was, remember this dagger that we showed you? Well, look what it can do.
Yeah.
It's obvious that that dagger's gonna be a character.
Well,
if you are.
Yeah. Well, it's dragon glass. What's important? Dragons. Who's got 3 dragons?
Yeah. Exactly.
What I did think
Fire
the crows
and ice.
thing. Yeah, exactly. The crow thing is important in my opinion. Well, that was our review of Game of Thrones: The Second Sons. We'd love to hear from you. Comment and subscribe. If you want to listen to other Game of Thrones videos, just check out our channel. If you want to check out our website, want to find out more about us, I don't know why you would, go to squarevision.co.uk. But for me and Hobie, thanks for listening.
Yeah, cheers.